Pretty big week in the garden. Everything's been planted except for a few of the peppers, which aren't, well, the weather was too cold and they haven't really grown as much as they should, and maybe they'll be okay by the end of the month. But all of a sudden it went from cold to summer, and so this past weekend I planted all the pumpkins. What you're looking at right now is the Racer Plus, which is doing the best of all the pumpkins. And then we move on. Let's be careful here. Let's see, I think that's still Racer Plus. Onto cargo. Right now they're under some netting because I've found that there are various critters who really like to eat pumpkin seedlings like these, and they'll be okay once the seed leaves are gone and they have their regular leaves. Then most things leave them alone, but right now they're a little vulnerable. You see on this cargo right over here. Oh boy. Well, let's move back this way. Yeah, something ate one of the seed leaves last night in spite of all the protection over it. So I think it'll be okay, but that was kind of disturbing to see. So these are cargo. And more cargo. And then we come to Amish pie. Actually, all three of the seeds that I had germinated. One of them I think I lost because when I transplanted, it was just starting to germinate, and I don't know where it is now. So that might be it. Let's see if I can focus. Right behind that little lump of soil there, but I'm not sure. And the other one is coming up very, very slowly. I think you can see it there. Right over here. So, alright. So we might get an Amish pie pumpkin this year. I had black futsu seeds, but I ran out of room to plant them, so they have all been given away. So I apologize to people who were looking forward to sharing black futsu harvests with me. Maybe next year. I just went wild with the pumpkin seeds this year, so I gave all my black futsu seeds away. And this is Big Moon. I would say Big Moon is doing second best behind Racer. Here's another one over here. I have to make sure to keep these guys watered because pumpkins don't have great root systems, and when you first transplant them, even if you keep them in the original pot that they were in, which these are in cow pots for the fertilizer that's naturally in the cow pot, even if you keep them in the pot, they just don't take root right away. So and I would never grow them in a pot indoors where you have to take them out of the pot and put them in the garden. It's just not going to work. You have to have a plantable pot, and you can start them indoors. I've been doing it for years, and it actually works better than sowing them outdoors. Okay, I'm going to move the camera, and I'll be right back. And here are my little tiny tomato plants. I don't know which is which. One is Paul Robeson, and the other one is Purple Calabash. And I just selected 4 or 5 and put them in this big bed. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I might have all 5 of one of them. I don't think there were 5 of one of them. I gave the rest away, and I hope people enjoy them, but they were a little disturbed that I couldn't tell them which kind they were getting. But I have never had success growing, well, I have grown tomatoes from seed, but they were seeds that were already outdoors and they grew themselves. But I never had success growing them from seed indoors before. And I was a little shocked, so I didn't even bother to mark them. And I'm not happy about that. But we'll find out late in the season what they are. This is boxwood basil, which supposedly stays small. Which I chose deliberately because it's, if you look at this bed, this is one of those cloth beds, and it's pretty big and it's very deep, but it's really probably too small for 5 tomato plants. If these get as big as some of my tomato plants have in the past. And I didn't want the basil to take up too much room, so hopefully that'll be happy where it is, because you know, it was chosen for a purpose. I had basil plants get very big before and compete with the tomatoes and end up dying, and you know, so forth and so on. So we'll see how this goes. And here we have 2 plastic bags, grow bags, and those will be filled with peppers when those peppers finally decide to send up lots of second leaves, or real leaves. And here's my carrots, coming along slowly as carrots do. Carrots do not grow fast. These are tricolored, so I can't tell who is who. I hope to get at least one of each color. And let's see, yeah, those are my purple potatoes. And over here we have red Norland potatoes on the other end. This is a more shallow bed, fiber bed. I found that there's no advantage in growing potatoes way deep. All the potatoes tend to form towards the surface, so it's not like you can grow them in a little flower pot, but you don't really need it to be deeper than 10-12 inches, and this bed's only about a foot deep. And here are some of my radishes, we started these from pelleted seed, because I have trouble with radishes. The seeds are so tiny that I tend to either plant them too shallow or too deep, and they never come up, or they never form roots. These were pelleted, so it was easier to plant them. And I'm getting nice roots already. You can kind of see. I can zoom in there a bit. Let's see if it'll let me zoom in. There. You really can't. Well, you can kind of see it. So, yeah. Okay. And the carrot seeds were pelleted as well. And over here, I have a Sweet 100 tomato plant that supposedly is supposed to grow 10 feet tall. This was given to me at a garden center, and it's been out here through thick and thin, so it hasn't grown a lot, but it has a flower on it now, and it's I'm gonna have to prune it a little. It's got some suckers on it, but it has big aspirations. You can see how tall the support is. And that's still not tall enough. But I guess I'll let it grow to the top of the support here, and then have it fall over if it wants to from there on. And over here, this is a pepper plant that I bought. This is my favorite Marconi, and this one has been up and down. It's been out in the cold, so it wasn't too happy for a while, and then its roots got all bound up, so it wasn't happy about that. So I put it in a big pot, and it should be okay, hopefully, for the rest of the season. Okay, I'm going to take a little walk. I'll be right back. Alright, and here's a view. Let's see if I can adjust this a little. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. This is an overview of the garden. It's 26 by 16. Let's see if I can get that to zoom out. Pretty big. And I have a little fence around it, which may help with the rabbits, may not. Pretty aggressive rabbits around here. Okay. Now we're going to turn around here so don't get sick. Whee! Okay. Here is, I believe this is a shade rose music box, yeah. And it's sprouting quite well. It's only been here about a month, so yeah, it's coming along pretty well. And there's that stupid bishop's weed, or gout weed, which won't give up no matter how many times I dig it up. There is some Canterbury bells. Some more Canterbury bells underneath we call them the rabbit ears. And those are very invasive. They're all over this garden. Okay, be back in a second again. Here are my little pepper plants, and again, just like the tomatoes, I threw them in, did not mark them, so I have two different ones here. I have orchid, and I have tame jalapeno. Yeah, they do look different. There are some with rounder leaves and some with leaves that are longer and thinner, so maybe I'll be able to figure it out eventually. But yeah, they are slowly sprouting second real leaves, so hopefully by the end of the week they'll be transplantable. And of course I'm not going to plant all of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there's 12 of them. So I'm going to plant what I can and try to choose the round leaves with the spiky leaves, and so I have a little bit of each, and then I'm going to give them away, the rest of them. So yeah, the week's supposed to remain warm, so they should be pretty happy and ready to go by the end of the week. Alright, another walk. I'll be right back. Here's Camelot. Camelot is doing well for a cheap rose. Hopefully we'll have some flowers this summer. And a little bit of lavender there. Don't know if it's hardy or not. And over here we have Earth Angel. And growing like crazy. I think I see a bud. Let's see, is that a bud? No, maybe not. No buds yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing those again. I love those roses. If I ever move from here, I'm going to get another Earth Angel bush. And here, planted a whole row. Am I focusing on anything? I'm in the sun now, so it's very, very hard for me to see. Okay, that is elfin thyme, and I planted it along the outside of the rose bed. because I am sick and tired of grass growing into the rose bed. Eventually I'm going to have it take over this entire area here. Those over there are Hanson cherry bushes, and they're going to take the south end of this little space here. Eventually they'll take up the whole thing, and I'll get rid of the grass in the middle and have nothing but this elfin thyme right here. But that is going to be a long time away because elfin thyme doesn't come cheap. I got a good price on these. Some were only $1.99, but these can be up to $5 for one plant. And when you have to have hundreds of them, that's pretty expensive. And they don't sell seeds for them either. Okay, here is, I think I kept calling this Heritage. It's Heirloom. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it is Heirloom. And that's another cheap rose I bought last year, and as I remember, it took forever to start up. And it's taking forever again this year, and half the plant appears to be dead. So I'm thinking maybe one more year with this, and then we'll move on. And here is Bellaroma. Bellaroma isn't sprouting as well as I like, but it is sprouting, so I think it will be okay. This was a pricey rose, so I'll be unhappy if it decides not to take here. But it's got all the conditions it needs, so hopefully it'll wake up and start growing. And here is Quietness. And Quietness was sort of a bonus rose I got on a big order of roses. And I'm not a big fan of it, but I have to say it keeps trying. It's the first one to bud, as far as I see. There we go. Yeah, got some buds there. And here is Heritage. This is a David Austin rose, so this is another pricey one. I don't see, oh, buds. Yeah, Heritage is good about flowering and flowering and flowering. And it also is a semi-shade rose. I would never grow a rose in full shade, but there are some that are good in partial shade, which is what this is in. That is a hydrangea, which is coming back. I thought they all were dead, which scared me, but they're all growing from the base. Let's see here. There's another hydrangea hiding among these ground covers here. There we go. Coming back nicely. This one I accidentally killed. I thought it was dead. I went to pull it out. I found out it was alive, and then it did die. So I replaced it with this one. This is an oak leaf hydrangea that came this week. And another oak leaf hydrangea from last year. And it's coming back rather nicely. And over here we have a Nyko Blue hydrangea, or like the one on the other end there. This one's doing better than the other one. And it's in pretty good shade here. So I can't really tell if I have it or not. There we go. Okay. And I have, that's a new blueberry bush. It hopefully will do better than the other ones did. I also have a cranberry on the way from England because none of the cranberries I planted last year took. So, okay, we'll stop here and I have a little more to show you. Alright, now back in the backyard again. This is Coleus. It used to be Coleus was a deep shade plant and not very colorful and not very interesting. But now they have these bright colors, and the bright colors like bright sun. So that's what they're getting here all day long. And hopefully we'll have a nice colorful corner here. Here is a baby peony. And this one is la 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 Carl Rosenfeld. And hopefully in a couple years we'll get flowers out of this. It's a baby right now. This one over here is Sarah Bernhardt, another baby that I just planted. I got these little ones because peonies are expensive. One of the local garden centers wants just a breathtaking amount of money for them, over $100 for each of them. And the big box garden centers that you can't trust because they don't always sell things that are right for the area, they want at least $50 for them. That's crazy. I'm not doing it. I'll wait. Here is the peony that I thought it was just a root that I got, and I planted it and I thought it was dead and dried out last year, and I gave up on it, but I left the root there and it came back. So I don't expect to see any flowers this year, but maybe next year. And over here we have purple passion asparagus. This was just planted this year. Nothing I planted last year came back. This is quite weedy here, so forgive me. Yeah, so we have a purple passion coming up, and clean up this bed, and hopefully next year we'll have some asparagus, or maybe the year after. Okay, I'll be right back. That is a shagbark hickory flower. This house came with a shagbark hickory and it didn't produce anything last year. Matter of fact, the leaves came out quite late, and the tree didn't produce any nuts, and I thought there was something wrong with it, but it turns out shagbark hickory is not grown commercially for that reason. For some years it has a bumper crop, and then the next year nothing. So it looks like we're going to have a bumper crop this year. Okay, now there's my big pile of brush. I took some of the dogwood out in front. I really didn't like where it was, and it seemed not to like where it was either. So I took it out, and big pile of brush there. There's a lot of dogwood in the front. I'd rather have blueberries where the dogwood was. And here, that is a new hydrangea. That is lime light hydrangea. It's supposed to get huge and fill in the area, which is great because this side of the yard opens up to a fairly busy street and there's no privacy at all. Something growing right over there that looks interesting. A lot of weeds back here. I haven't had a chance to get back here. There we go. There's the other limelight hydrangea on the other side of the shagbark hickory tree. Anyway, I'm running down on battery here, and it probably bored you to the point where you're snoring, so let's take a little pan here and we'll go back to the garden, and I'll see you next time, hopefully with much bigger plants. See you later.